Hi,
Hey
welcome back
everyone.
to Another Look. I'm here with Melanie, and we're here with Sharon Reed from 19 Action News. Just had to
Hi.
jump right into it. Honest, fair, and everywhere, and right here in living color.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's been a little bit, right?
It
Since
has
last time I was here.
been. Wow, so how's it
Looking
been? Let me
good.
just do quick, how's it been?
It's been good. Life's good. Very good.
Yes.
Okay then, well, let's go right into it. We got a lot we
Yeah.
want to cover.
Uh-oh.
And
Go easy.
so we're gonna try to do this quick and painless. First, let's talk about your childhood. Sharon Reed, let's update
Go way
Melanie.
back.
Let's go
Jeff,
way back.
way
Back in the day. Let's go back from the beginning.
Back in the day. Let's talk about Sharon growing up.
Sure. She was a tomboy. I mean, I was always outside, loved sports, anything that was like dirty and grimy. Just was always outside playing, mostly with my older sister, friends in the neighborhood, but just loved to just be outside.
Now, when you were outside, did you ever think at some point you'd be on television years later?
Not till much later. I would say maybe freshman in high school, I started to think, what will I be? Maybe the only other thing that I thought about was, I said, maybe a dentist.
Okay, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Westchester, Pennsylvania, a suburb
Okay.
of Philadelphia. So yeah, I said, maybe I'll be a dentist or a lawyer. And I said, well, I'd love to be a lawyer. I love everything that's associated with the law, but I said too much school, too much studying, homework never ends. So I said no. Then I said, well, maybe a dentist. And then one day I was watching TV. In our house at dinner time, the news was on. And there was this beautiful African-American lady who was on the news, very popular in Philadelphia market. And then it hit me, I said, that's what I want to do. And I would, try to talk like her and be like her. And she was just so graceful and just so beautiful and just so charming.
So then in high school,
and that's when I said, that's what I want to do. And I never really talked about it. And then one day, I saw her at a mall. And
wow.
I got to meet her and got a little bit of advice from her. I was still real young, but I just knew, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be.
So from there, in high school, you started taking a lot of maybe speech classes?
No, not really. Our high school didn't even offer anything like that. There was one experience I had in one class, it must have been English or something, where they had us put together like a newscast or something, and the teacher said, oh, you really shined at that, and I was, really proud about that. But no, I knew once I went to school, I kind of kept it close to the vest. That's really how I am anyway. I didn't really tell my friends, and I'm kind of an introvert anyway, but yeah, I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be that.
And so from there, it led you to Georgetown University.
I was in Georgetown, that's in D.C., and another love of mine, politics, so I was right in the heart of it, and I got to be on Capitol Hill, and I spent a year in Senator Kennedy's press office, and I would go in every day, and my job, there was only two of us, thousands of people applied for this job, and I ran into the guy who picks the people, and somehow I convinced him, and he let me be one of the people. And so every day I'd go in, and I got to make the senator's newspaper. And what that would mean is any negative stuff, you cut that out. But I would go through all the newspapers, and I would cut out anything associated with legislation or something that he was working on, or anything that would name his family in it. It was a very intimate setting in the press office. And that was another job I thought of. Maybe I could be a press secretary. But it was fun. That was something that was very interesting to me, the Kennedy family, and just politics as a whole, being on Capitol Hill, being in D.C. I loved it.
Well, speaking of politics, what was it like just covering the election and now going into the inauguration as a proud black anchor woman here, and just what was it like?
I think this election, most exciting time of my life. Maybe some of my colleagues, I don't want to speak for them, but some people might have gotten sick of it. But I loved every second of this because I love politics so much. You say proud black anchor, and I am, but I'm just a newswoman first. I try to be in the newsroom and remind the producers that you can't just have all Barack Obama stories. You got to put on some about John McCain too, and Sarah Palin, and try to make sure we're balanced in that regard. I really try to pride myself on that. Viewers, they're going to see it their way, and it brings challenges. Obviously, I'm a black woman. I'm going to speak my mind, and so sometimes, even though I'd be the one championing the fairness and the balance behind the scenes, they're going to see it a certain way, and they're going to say, hey, they think, because you look a certain way that perhaps you're skewing a certain way. But I don't let things like that bother me. I'm going to do what I got to do.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the economy. We're just in this crisis right now. All
It's
this,
awful.
it's terrible. How do you deal with covering the economy? I mean, are there certain things that the news is saying, you know, let's not cover this, or how do you determine?
Well, you know, traditionally in local news, and it's not something I think we should be proud of. I think where there's a will, there's a way. You can bring any story to life. If it's important to people, we should be covering it. But traditionally, that's not something we cover. Financial stories, they're viewed as boring. You know, how do you bring numbers to life for people? They're just going to turn it off. But because of the crisis, the economic crisis, every station has been hitting the economy hard. You really turn it on from 4 to 6:30 on Action News. You're going to see the economy covered in various ways. With the holiday season coming, we're doing you know those kind of stories. So it presents challenges, but people want news about the markets, about their bank accounts. The challenge that it brings now, though, is, and I was talking to my co-anchor about this yesterday, is it seems like we're bringing them 2.5 hours from 4 to 6:30 negative news. And I think there is a way to tell people, okay, here are some jobs that are available to you. Here is a way to feed your family on a budget. You know, here's something that you can do to take care of yourselves. We're not going away, we're not dying, and there's something that can be done in a more positive light. So I think that the challenge for 19 Action News is to be that alternative station, to bring you some positive light. I think we did a good job of that today.
I'm just curious, and I know people probably still talk about the body art story.
Oh, sure.
You know, do you still get feedback from that story?
Yeah, and from times, really from all over the country, all over the world.
Thanks to YouTube and other types of technology, people can still go back and see
and I
the
still want the
pictures.
copyright to it for that reason. You know, that's something that I desperately want, and I will we'll see what happens with that.
Keep working on that.
Oh, I certainly will. But yeah, I still hear from people. It's one of those stories that was groundbreaking. You know, I wasn't the first journalist to do that. You know, print journalists did it, New York Times, some other people. But to do it in that kind of pure form and then put it on the news, you know, because a lot of people didn't realize that, you know, we can put whatever we want on TV, you know, with that safe harbor thing. People never thought of that. They never even knew it existed, that between 10 p.m. and 6:30, you know, if people wanted to show porn, they could. We wouldn't do that, and we didn't. You know, we were very careful about it, very tasteful. It could run on PBS, you know.
It's a good story.
In a pure form and documentary form. But I get a lot of feedback. I would say mostly positive, and people, the viewers were very, very clear and very supportive. And I like it because, well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm not an art enthusiast, but I appreciate other people's right to do what they believe in. That was number one for me. Number two, what a lot of people don't realize when they see me on the news, because I'm kind of got a bigger personality and boisterous, is in my private life, I'm a little bit different.
Do you see that sometimes it's just a character that you play on television?
No, because I think I am authentic, and it's all me, and I think just me, you, Melly, I think we all have different sides, and so that is really me, but in my private life, there's another side of me, and I'm not really interested in running around naked with a bunch of other people, but so I was proud of myself that I was able to get over that shyness and do it, though, you know, because that takes courage, and I knew I would face ridicule from, you know, colleagues in the business, and I know what this business is about, very catty, very jealous, very nasty at times.
No,
so
not this industry.
Oh, yeah. So I was proud of myself that I knew that would be coming, you know, the biggest fight of my life professionally, and then I said, you know what, I know what's right, I know what's appropriate, I know what I'm going to do, I know how far I will go and willing to go, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. I know who I am, and so I'll do that. So that's why I was proud of myself for saying, you know what, I'm going to do what
That
I'm
was a
going to
good
do.
story. Good story. It was a good story.
It's still good.
It really is. We still talk about it to this day. Good story. Anything else? What we got?
How do you feel about working with Mike Trevisano on WT?
Trev. Some days I want to, you know, punch him in the belly. Want to run up and kick him in
You all
the
go
shin.
at it some
We
days.
go at it some days. And then other days I want to hug him. You know, when Trev said, you know, Sharon, I called him one day to find out about something else. Trev gets a lot of tips, and I like to break stories too. And so sometimes I'll call up Trev and I'll say, you know, hey, what do you know about this? And it just so happened I called him one day a couple months ago, and I said, listen, I need to know something about this one story I was going to break. And we talked about that, and then he said, no, look, I got to tell you something. I said, what? He said, I got cancer. And so, you know, we do have a strong friendship, and I do love the guy. And you know, some of the stuff he said, I just want to strangle him some days. But then there's the softer side of him that is real and authentic. And he has a family that loves him, and he has a wife that they've been together since they're 16. So I respect that. I have strong family values. I have strong belief in that. Important. And so anybody who has that kind of love story, there's something redeeming there. People come up and they say, how can you talk? I can't stand it. He's this, he's that. I always say, you don't know what someone is. You don't really know what's in their heart. So I'm going to go by what you show me, sure, and then I'll accept what you say. I'm not God, you know? I'm not God. So, you know, people talk about Don Imus and that whole thing, and I say, look, Don Imus made a mistake. It was a pretty nasty one. And then Don Imus said he was sorry.
Then you move on.
And I accept it. Then I look at his life. He's done a lot for, you know,
well, let's take a look at your life real quick. If we could take a quick glimpse into the life of Sharon Reed, what does she like to watch on television?
Like I said, I love everything with the law. So you would laugh. I watch all those court shows. I love them. I watch, if there's a good trial going on, I watch, you know, that Court TV, now True TV. I watch that kind of stuff. I watch all those reality shows. Janice Dickinson. I love her because, you know, she's outrageous. She's a lot of things, but I think that's really who she is. I think you meet her on the street, that's not an act. As long as you're authentic, I'm all right with you.
I guess my last question would be, what's the buzz at 19, Action News?
The buzz at 19. I think the thing I like about working at the station is no 2 days are alike. Everything is different behind the scenes. We got a lot of different characters, and so that's the beauty of it. We don't got a lot of we don't have a lot of stiffs running around there. A lot of stations that I worked at, you have a lot of phonies, and I'm not trying to disparage other people, but you'll find that when you go to work, you have the sprayed on anchors, you know. And then you know what they're doing in their private life. Like, come on, you know what I mean? I don't care. You're an adult. You do what you want to do. But we have people who are real and genuine and decent. And it can be a crazy place to work, but a fun place to work. And I think people respond to that. We're the real station in town, and that's okay with me.
You are all, they are very real. I can say that.
Sharon is very real too. She's not afraid to tell you what's on her mind and who she is. That's good. You gotta be upfront.
I think that's okay.
Sharon,
you know?
thank you for allowing us to take another look at your life once again. Don't be a stranger. Come on back a little bit sooner.
A little bit sooner?
A little bit
sooner.
A couple
years, huh?
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sharon Reed from 19. Action News, honest, fair, everywhere. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back right after this.